27 months after its first case of COVID-19 infection, the United States reached a soul-crushing milestone on Thursday as its death toll crossed 1 million, according to a statement by the White House. How did this once unthinkable figure become today's reality? How are Americans impacted by the pandemic? And are they satisfied with what the government is doing to deal with the situation? We have talked to some people here in New York City. Let's hear what they have to say.
Absolutely. I went to a number of funerals. I filmed a few funerals. I lost a really good friend of mine. Absolutely, it happens here. Well, one of my brothers gets sick, but recently, and that was mild effects. But we are concerned. It can happen any day. Today here, Times Square, so many people traveling. So obviously, it's a problem, and it's not going away. Some people who put their life in danger, first responders who work in a grocery delivery, they had to be out and they get sick, and some of them passed away, and that's really they put their nothing can kind of redeem that, right? The life lost.
Why do we think it's happened? I just think people did not want to believe that there was something like this that could happen.
And I think we weren't very prepared for something. The warning signs have been there for a considerable amount of time beforehand, and people weren't paying attention. And so when the time to produce personal protective equipment, to accept the vaccines, that wasn't there. And I think it's been a long time since we've had something like this, right? So I am an educator. I'm in the education profession, and I retired in January because the last 2 years just were unbelievably hard. So I retired because I could, and I was very lucky that I could.
And myself, I think it's impacted every part of my life. I have an immune-compromised daughter, so every day was frightening, wondering what may or may not happen to her. Trying to protect her without having her fearful of everything every day, and everything else. I think it's really impacted our everyday for sure.
It's heartbreaking because it is going to be a generation of children who are having to find their way. The supports clearly aren't in place, and no matter what country in, the supports aren't there to help young kids whose parents have died. Or are really ill from this over the long term. It's staggering, the numbers, and not just that, not just the kids whose families have died, which is tragic. Educationally, mental health-wise, the impact on our young people is staggering, and I don't think we're fully aware of how profound it will be.
All of the first responders and the medical professionals that have managed through all of this, and as the pandemic progressed, the treatment of those people was worse and worse and worse. I think governments especially needed to respect those people more that were really supporting and helping everybody. I think there was a big failure myself with the U.S. government in paying too much attention to the people who were very protectionist of themselves rather than the community. So supporting community much better would have been my choice for every government.
I think it's become politicized. I think that people have politicized science. They've politicized vaccines, both sides, Democrats and Republicans, right? Something so simple as a vaccine has become an issue of red versus blue, right? So a lot of that has to do with the politics, not being as knowledgeable, but then you also have that historical aspect within the minority communities that they just don't trust certain things because of history. So all of these are legitimate concerns, but I guess the biggest concern should be actually catching the virus and, not living because of it. I know a lot of people who have lost a loved one. Myself, my grandmother, she passed in August from COVID herself. So, there's just that massive loss of life that I hope that as time goes on, we can, start to appreciate the, 1.1, I think, million people that have died. And, hopefully, the government or somebody, whether it's a public or a private entity or an individual, can, come up with some sort of memorial so that we can remember this moment. And we should remember this moment, as well as the people that died. So, hopefully the numbers can go down. Hopefully more people can get vaccinated. And hopefully, something like this we can just learn from. All these things are teachable moments.